So today we're going to cover how to find your operating window so you can achieve a perfect seal every time. The first step is going to be how to set up your sealer properly. The first step is going to be finding the correct air gap for your caps by setting the gap gauge on top of 2 bottles underneath the sealing head. This gap gauge is 1/8 of an inch thick, which is the recommended air gap. Our sealing heads also all have the sticker on the side, which has a center line. It's very important that your bottles run through or underneath the sealing head in a centered fashion as well. So the second step in finding your operating window is setting the correct conveyor speed. So in this case, I am going to target 45 feet per minute using my tachometer, which I highly recommend that everyone have on site, is a tachometer, so that you know what your actual line speed is in feet per minute or meters per minute, which is really important in making sure you have your operating window set properly and consistently. So the next step in finding your operating window is running sample bottles. And today we're going to run bottles at increments of 5. I'm going to start at an output power level of 55 and run at increments of 5 up to 100. And then because we want to let the liner cool before we evaluate it, we're going to come back to you in about 2 minutes and take a look at what they look like. So now that we've let the liners cool, we're going to take a look at what they look like. And there is no industry standard in how these liners are evaluated, but here in our lab, we do things like pull on them, visually inspect them, and squeeze bottles. So obviously this one failed, and this doesn't surprise me considering that was the low end of where we started. So this one's 60, we're going to do the same thing, pull at it, squeeze it. And I'll continue to do this as we go along. This one is 65%. Getting a little stronger, but so we're at 70 now. This one looks pretty good to me. So I would probably consider this the low end of our sealing window. So we're going to keep going here at 75. And now as we get higher, I'm also going to start to look for signs of overheating in the liner, which include wrinkling, potential scorching. Sometimes it's a smell. That's often the first sign to me that a liner is overheated, that I smell it. But so far these all look pretty good to me. So I'm currently at 85%. These are all holding. I have not yet seen any signs of very obvious overheating. And here at 95%, I do see some signs of visual overheating. So you can see around the outside of the liner starts to show some signs of wrinkling. And that is definitely a sign of the liner starting to melt because it's overheated. And I would expect we're going to see something very similar on the 100, and it's even worse. So in this case, on this liner, at this line speed of 45 feet a minute, I would consider our sealing window to be between 70 and 85% output power. So I'd probably recommend set the sealer somewhere between 75 and 80%. And at that same line speed every day, you will get a consistent seal.